This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that makes its money through the exploitation of orcas.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 nature documentaries.
When the last of the clan has finally clambered onto the ice, their long march will begin.
For this list, we'll be looking at documentary films that examine animals and the natural world. We want to keep the scope of this list limited to more up-to-date productions, so we'll only consider documentaries made after 2000. Tell us what your favorite nature documentaries are in the comments below. Number 10. The Year Earth Changed. 2020 was a year that many people have less than fond memories of, but the lockdowns and travel bans that drew so much ire gave us a glimpse into another world.
March 2020. A deadly virus sweeps around the world. Overnight, our lives are put on pause.
In The Year Earth Changed, legendary nature narrator and biologist David Attenborough took a look at how this great pause by humanity offered a chance for the natural world to breathe.
This is a unique opportunity to peer into the lives and worlds of wildlife and see what things look like without as much of our interaction.
From sea turtles to leopards and even endangered jackass penguins, animals recovered at an astounding rate. Meanwhile, carbon emissions, sea pollution, and more have all gone down. As the lockdowns end, the film asks if we can continue to live in harmony with nature.
If we are to thrive in the future, now is the crucial moment to find ways to share our planet with all the life on Earth.
Number 9. Chasing Coral. For decades, scientists had observed the frighteningly quick death of coral reefs around the world, but their pleas for help fell on deaf ears.
Phil told me that we've lost 80 to 90% of corals in Florida. I had no idea that these issues were so advanced.
Enter Richard Vevers, an ad man from the advertising world with a passion for diving among the coral. Vevers sought to use his skills to get the message to motivate people to combat climate change and save the reefs.
One of the biggest issues with the ocean is it is completely out of sight and out of mind, and that essentially is an advertising issue.
Teaming with Jeff Orlowski, director of Chasing Ice, the team of divers also sought to create time lapses of corals dying. The result showed some of the most vibrant and beautiful things on Earth decaying into drab, mossy graveyards.
What we're doing is pulling out the card called coral reefs from this house of cards. And the real fear is that we'll take out enough of those cards where the whole thing will just simply collapse.
Number 8. The Ivory Game. This entry can be considered as much of a true crime documentary as it is a nature one. The Ivory Game focuses on the people putting their lives on the line by going up against poachers as well as the black market ivory trade spanning multiple continents.
Every time something bad happens, you're losing much, much more than just an individual animal. Because elephants have an amazing memory and they can live 60, 70 years.
In Africa, anti-poaching teams both try to protect elephants against dangerous poachers and also attempt to catch the poachers while raiding their gun stashes. It also focuses on where the illegal ivory trade is prevalent in Asia, with teams including journalists going undercover.
The reason why thousands and thousands of elephants are slaughtered every year is because we have a legal market in China. The problem is that this legal market can rely only on a small quantity of ivory that the Chinese government distributes.
Ultimately, the film highlights that this issue is an international one, and we are all more connected to it than it may seem.
Ivory trafficking is a serious business. There are powerful individuals that are making a lot of money, and they are able to control politicians, security officers. So you don't easily go to police to report a crime.
Number 7. Grizzly Man. This film is a fascinating look at both the grizzly bears of Alaska and the man who spent 13 seasons living with them.
I love them with all my heart. I will protect them. I will die for them. But I will not die at their claws and paws. I will fight. I will be strong. I'll be one of them. I will be the master.
Grizzly Man carries with it a sense of melancholy and foreboding about human nature in the way that only director Werner Herzog can deliver with his iconic accent.
Treadwell reached out, seeking a primordial encounter. But in doing so, he crossed an invisible borderline.
compiled from over 100 hours of footage shot by Timothy Treadwell, who, along with his girlfriend, was ultimately killed by his beloved bears. The film asks questions about obsession and identity, and ultimately what lines should be crossed between humans and nature.
I think Treadwell thought these bears were big, scary-looking, harmless creatures that he could go up and pet and sing to, and they would bond as children of the universe or some odd.
Number 6. Flight of the Butterflies. Of course, creatures like elephants and grizzlies aren't the only subjects of documentaries, as the lives of much smaller creatures can be just as fascinating.
It has been said since Darwin's time that evolution is written on the wings of butterflies.
Flight of the Butterflies details the extraordinary odyssey the monarchs take from Mexico to Canada and America that spans 3 of the winged insects' generations. In just as an incredible journey, the flick also chronicles the decades-long research mission by Fred and Nora Urquhart to discover their flight path.
I had become a scientist, and finding where the monarchs went had become my quest. I had the idea that sticking tags on butterflies might work.
Shot for 3D IMAX, the documentary is a truly impressive-looking film, with breathtaking sequences of the monarchs in flight and a stunning look at the metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly.
She warms her virgin wings, covered with over 1 million scales. These wings will take her on a flight to a secret winter home.
Number 5. The Cove. While it's not an objective documentary, this film certainly made waves when it came out.
It's funny driving into Taiji. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone. It's so bizarre because if you didn't know what's going on over here, you would think this is a town that loves dolphins and whales.
The Cove takes its name from an area in Taiji, Japan, where thousands of dolphins are corralled and captured every year in a hunt. Violently taken from their home, these dolphins are shipped to dolphinariums and marine parks around the world to live in small tanks in depressing conditions.
It's hard to see the problem. But the dolphin smile is nature's greatest deception. It creates the illusion they're always happy.
Unfortunately, those kidnapped are the lucky ones. Tenfold more dolphins are taken to a side cove and are killed for their meat. All of this is veiled in levels of secrecy and aggression from the government and fishermen, with teams of activists and filmmakers literally putting their lives on the line to expose what's going on.
Today they would kill me if they could. And I'm not exaggerating. If these fishermen could catch me and kill me, they would.
Number 4. An Inconvenient Truth. The inception for the film can be traced all the way back to at least 1989, when Al Gore used a flip chart to illustrate the dangers of climate change.
There is another such assumption that a lot of people have in their minds right now about global warming that just ain't so.
Years and a vice presidency later, Gore felt like his message still wasn't being heard. However, he had come a long way from flip charts. After seeing Gore's environmental slideshow presentation at a town hall meeting, producer Laurie David helped him develop a feature film.
Ultimately, this is really not a political issue so much as a moral issue. If we allow that to happen, it is deeply unethical.
The documentary incorporated charts, images taken from space, and even a clip from Futurama to illustrate its point.
That's the traditional explanation. Here's what I think is a better explanation.
Global warming, or none like it hot.
It ended up being a huge success and helped turn the tide on public opinion on climate change. Number 3. Blackfish. This harrowing tale looked at the captive killer whale Tilikum and the questionable practices employed by SeaWorld.
It takes years of study and experience to meet the strict requirements necessary to interact in the water with Shamu.
Come to find out, it really is more about your personality and how good you can swim.
The reported abuses and mental distress inflicted on Tilikum and other performing killer whales in SeaWorld facilities make the film incredibly difficult to watch at times. The film asserts that the mental pain, captivity, and isolation felt by the animal were factors in the orca's attack on humans.
In the newspaper articles, the cause of death was that she drowned accidentally, but you know, she was pulled under by the whale.
Despite orca attacks being rare in the wild with 0 recorded fatalities in history, Tilikum alone has been connected to multiple attacks, including 3 deaths. As a result of the film, SeaWorld faced severe backlash from both the public and lawmakers.
She stayed in the corner of the pool, like literally just shaking and screaming, screeching, crying. Like, I'd never seen her do anything like that.
Number 2, My Octopus Teacher. Reconnecting with the natural world can be one of the most powerful experiences we can go through as humans, and that is on full display in My Octopus Teacher.
Such an incredible feeling. And you feel you're on the brink of something extraordinary.
When filmmaker Craig Foster was at his lowest, he began freediving in the kelp forest near his hometown, where he would eventually meet a curious octopus.
It's a hard thing to explain, but sometimes you just get a feeling and you know there's something to this creature that's very unusual.
The pair quickly formed a unique and close friendship, which he documented for about a year. Their beautiful bond and the alien world he became a part of transformed Craig both on land and at sea. Its beautiful visuals and powerful message made the movie a hit, earning Best Documentary at the 93rd Academy Awards.
And I could feel it, like from one minute to the next. Okay, I trust you. I trust you, human. And now you can come into my octopus world.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Before the Flood, a captivating call for climate change action.
If we're going to fight climate change effectively, we have to start by acknowledging that most of our economy is based on fossil fuels.
Oceans, glimpses into underwater worlds. Jane chronicles the life of the famed primatologist Jane Goodall.
My mission was to get close to the chimpanzees, to live among them, to be accepted.
Seaspiracy examines the impact of the global fishing industry.
I knew that figuring out what was going on in Taiji would give me a better understanding of the bigger picture of how to save the ocean. Either I stayed home picking up trash on beaches all day, or take a risk and find out if there was a bigger threat to the sea.
Samsara, a spiritual look at the beautiful imagery of the natural world. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. March of the Penguins. Another film taking home the Oscars Best Documentary Feature, March of the Penguins was one of the most talked about documentaries of its time.
For millions of years, they have made their home on the darkest, driest, windiest, and coldest continent on Earth. And they've done so pretty much alone.
The film followed the epic annual journey of the emperor penguin across the frozen desert of Antarctica. The quest of these flightless birds was both long and difficult, ending with courtship and finally the hatching of a chick. Made by a French team, the movie was a success in its original language, but became a mega hit with the English translation, thanks in no small part to Morgan Freeman's narration.
And as their newest members look on, the tribe returns to their home at last.
Over the years, the film remains as impactful and entertaining as ever. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.